This is a tutorial on how to install a Jupyter Notebook. We're going to go over how to install a Jupyter Notebook in the cloud9 server. Cloud9 is a free web-based server platform. So Jupyter Notebook is a Python programming platform, basically like a spreadsheet for Python. So we're going to first install a code editor, just because we don't want to be restricted to Cloud9's code editor, although that's fine. We want to use the nice, convenient code editor. Then we're going to create the Cloud9 server. It's free. We're going to explore the server interface. Then we're going to configure it with Jupyter. So let's quickly just go to Sublime Text. And we're going to download a portable version of Sublime Text. You can download the one that's appropriate for your operating system. And once that's finished downloading, it takes a little while. You can go in the folder. I've already installed it, but you would basically just extract this, and once you've extracted it, it's going to open up Sublime Text, and then you open up Sublime Text folder, and then you just go to this folder. So I've already opened this up, and I've already had a test file in there. I'll go ahead and delete it and do all of this again. So really quickly, as you can see, you can enlarge. This is enlarged text. You can. This has code completion. It's a very nice text IDE. You can make text smaller and then make the font larger. It's a lot better than Cloud9's text editor. So we're going to use this. Now we're going to go ahead and create Cloud9 account. So let's just go here. So it's going to open up my account, so I have to open up a private window. So when you initially land on Cloud9, it's going to ask for an email address. So you want to give just your email address, and then it's going to ask you for a name, and then it's going to have you choose a username that has to be I think 3 letters long or something, yeah, more than 3. So, and then a little bit about yourself, which is for just Cloud9. And then the next step is actually important. It's going to ask you for credit card details. So this is almost, I'm almost certain this is just a deterrent for people who would just like to automate creation of multiple Cloud9 accounts. You have to be legit. You have to have a physical address and all that good stuff to have a credit card. I've never had Cloud9. I've been using a free Cloud9 account for a while. They've never charged me anything. I'm pretty sure this just restricts. This is there to just restrict the service to people who are actually, very serious. You're not going to give your credit card info to just any, online, platform. So, you're not able to continue without giving this information. Again, if you don't have this is kind of an unfortunate requirement if you don't have, debit card or whatever. But I think this is here just to make sure that you're very serious about creating a Cloud9 account. It's very difficult to go around this process if you're trying to just automate, creation of multiple Cloud9 accounts for some unscrupulous, purpose. So once you've done that, once you provide that information, then it'll take you to this landing page. Except you won't have all these. So really quickly, these are servers that I've created for different projects. So each of these is a server. This is essentially like Google Drive, except it's a Google Drive that you can that has an operating system that you can interact with, which Google Drive doesn't allow you to interact with the operating system. You can just install files, and go into them, but you can't actually, type any commands into the operating system of the Google Drive, of the computer running that houses that information. You can only load and retrieve files. So this is an operating system with essentially a hard drive in the cloud, memory in the cloud. So each of these has different. You can create different servers with different specs. This is the amount of RAM. This is the amount of hard drive space it has. This is the number of CPUs. The free plans give you up to 1 gig of RAM and up to 5 gigs of hard drive space. So we're going to create a new one. We're going to call it Demo 4. And then on the free plan, you're able to create one private account and then unlimited public servers. These are templates for different servers. These are basically, this is a server that's prepackaged with HTML5, an interpreter for HTML5. This is a server that's prepackaged with PHP. PHP essentially is the language of the server, as the programming language that's native to that server. Python, this is a server whose native language is Python. This is another server whose native language is Python. It also comes with the Django framework installed in it. This is a server whose native language is Ruby. And it also has the Ruby on Rails framework installed in it. So these are just different server setups. You can very easily Wikipedia all these different setups and find out more about them. This is a blank server. It's all servers are Linux based. They're Linux servers. No matter what kind of server you install, it's going to be built on a Linux system, which is the base machine that cloud9 uses as Linux. Almost all servers use Linux. Actually, I don't know of very many that use, say, a Windows machine as a server, but I'm sure they're out there. But almost all servers are Linux based. So we're going to create a PHP server or Apache server that whose native language is PHP, and then it has a MySQL database also configured with it. So we're just going to create this. Again, you can sort of find out more about all those different options. I just want to make this video short, so I don't want to go too much in depth into all those options. And I'm going to pause here actually while this is loading. Okay, so it looks like it's finished loading. So first things, we're just going to run the project right away, just to show you what it looks like when it's run. So when it's run, it should actually give you info right here. Okay, it's going. So it's gonna. This is the server command line. So there are 3 command lines that you'll notice. This immediate is a JavaScript command line. So it allows you to run. Yeah, it describes it. This is a REPL. REPL stands for what is it, like print loop, something like that. It's like it's essentially it's like a command line for JavaScript. PL stands for print loop. I don't remember what RE stands for. But Bash is the standard command line for Linux. This is a Linux Bash shell. If you're familiar at all with MS-DOS, the Microsoft's command line, you kind of have some familiarity with what a command line does. You can execute commands directly in it. So this is a command line for, again, the server itself, like the Apache server. And then this is it for a Linux machine that server is running it. So a server is essentially an operating system. It has its own kernel. A kernel is an application that is, or is a program that is the operator of the operating system. It's the main algorithm of the operating system. It controls other applications. So Apache server has its own kernel, and then Linux has its own kernel because it's an operating system. So this is an operating system inside of another operating system. That's kind of an important point. This is a server within like sort of base operating system that's Linux, and then this is another. This isn't an operating system on its own. This is just a Java like command line interpreter. So we can run Java code in here, and it'll interpret it for us right away. Hi, I am Java text. Let's just write that JavaScript text. And then if we run this, it'll just right away run that JavaScript for us, and that's what that's there for. I'm not actually too familiar. I don't really use that, but this is really important. This is our Linux command line, or Bash shell. So we're going to go ahead and ls stands for list the current contents in the current directory, and we can see right away it matches what we see here. And you can click on these little circles for more information. I'm not going to click on them now. I'm going to let you go ahead and explore this. I will go ahead and really quickly show you this. This gives you specs of the server that we're running. This has 512 megabytes of RAM. It has a 2 gigabyte hard drive. And we can resize this. The maximum we can get for free is 5 gigs of hard disk space. So we'll actually resize it right away. We're going to use the max we can do on the free plan. So I'll be right back. Okay, it looks like it's resized. So we're going to run it again. And every time we run it, notice it opens up another server, server shell or server command line. So we can just close the old one and then just continue on with the new one. So we're going to go ahead and open up. If you click on here and then you scroll over it, it'll let you just click on this link. This link is actually where it says right here, serving at this address. It's serving the contents of the server at this web address. So that's what a server does. It serves the contents of the server on some port. So here's where it's serving it at. So we can just copy that and paste it either in a web browser or any web browser here. Let's just paste it, for example, in Firefox. I want to be a little quick because we're running out of time. And open the app, and it gives us the contents of the server. It tells us even right here that this is an Apache Ubuntu server on port 443. This is the port that it's outputting from. So it's a server, and the contents of the server match what Cloud9 tells us is in it. So we'll go back here, and we're going to really quickly again just check the contents again, double check, and we're going to create a simple like HTML file. So because we're creating a Jupyter notebook on a server, there are different ways of actually accessing that notebook. You can either have it linked to in an HTML document, or you can directly access it. I would recommend just making a very simple HTML document and then linking to that Jupyter notebook on that page. So we're going to have to really quickly create an HTML document. Let's just open it. So we have a preview inside of Cloud9. We can just open it in here, and let's split the screen. Again, you can. There are a lot of options. It would take a very long video to go over all the options, in Cloud9's interface. We're going to split the screen, and we're going to go ahead and pull this off here. The tab tells you what the current file is. This is telling you this tab is showing HTTPS. It's showing the contents of this. This tab is showing the README file, which is right here. If we open this, for example, it would be showing here. So let's close that. So we want to go ahead and create a simple HTML file. We're going to create that in Sublime. If we created it in here, notice that it's kind of a small. The text is barely readable, and there's no code completion. So you can't take advantage of the nice things about a dedicated sort of code editor like Sublime. So we're gonna in order to take advantage of code completion, we have to actually save it as an HTML file. We have to tell it that it's an HTML file. We're going to call this demo. If we called it index.html, index is automatically, let's go ahead and call it index. Index is by default going to be run by the server. Any server, as soon as it sees a file called index, it's going to run it by default. So we're going to call it that. And then now that it knows that it's an HTML file, it's going to allow us to have code completion. So we're going to quickly just create a very simple HTML document here. I'm going to call the title home page. And actually, we're running out of time. I'm going to finish writing this HTML document in the next video. I don't want this to run too long, so